All right, in this section, we're going to specifically talk about how we appraise different stressors and how that appraisal affects our response to that stressor. So looking at this, we kind of say that, right, the appraisal is in the eye of the beholder. So how we perceive different stressors is different from person to person, and that's based on a couple different characteristics. There's our primary appraisal of the stressor or the situation, and that's primarily based on things like your own perception of the stressor's characteristics, how much demand that stressor maybe requires, and how much that stressor is relevant to you. Then we have what are called secondary appraisals, which rely more on your appraisal of the resources or the components outside of the stressor itself. And so these may focus on internal factors like your own ability to handle the stressor, or external factors like things like social support or financial capabilities to, again, deal with whatever that stressor might be. And so if we look at how we run this appraisal scenario, we can see that we end up in one of two different outcomes. So as we go through whatever that potential stressor may be, we then first do our primary appraisal of that stressor itself. What are the demands of that stressor? What does it require of us? What is it placing on us? And what does it itself kind of entail? Then we run our secondary appraisal of, well, what are the resources that I have to deal with that stressor? And so maybe that stressor could be, I have a quiz coming up, and that primary appraisal looks at the quiz and says, how stressful is this? Is it an important piece of my grade? Is it going to make or break whether I pass this class or whether I graduate? And then we run our secondary appraisal, which is, what resources do I have to deal with this stressor? Well, can I study? Can I go to office hours and talk with the professor and ask questions to get a better handle on what I'm trying to be assessed on? What can I do to deal with this stressor? And so we end up with two different outcomes. The first is if that stressor becomes a threat. And that would be if the demand of the stressor, that primary appraisal, exceeds or is greater than the secondary appraisal or our resources that we have to deal with it. So if we don't have enough resources to deal with that demand, well, then that's perceived as a threat. On the other hand, if we have enough resources to deal with that demand, then we call this a challenge because it's something that we can meet. It might be a challenge. We might need to use those resources, but it's something that we can meet and we can overcome because we have enough resources to deal with the demand of that threat.